Today we have the NAPA Fleet FTC3134T upper and the FTC3185 lower ball joints that fit the Jeep Wrangler from 2018 to 2007. NAPA Fleet ball joints are engineered to excel under all working conditions, with greaseable sintered bearings for extra durability and included hardware and installation aids. Be sure you have all the proper tools, most importantly a ball joint press with the correct adapters and cups for the job, as well as a calibrated torque wrench, a ball joint and tie rod separator, and all the proper PPE to keep you safe. To begin, properly lift and support the vehicle. Remove the wheel. Then separate the outer tie rod end from the housing and safely secure it out of the way. Note, when you are working on the passenger side, you will also need to separate the drag link from the axle housing. Next, remove the brake caliper and securely hang it so there is no tension on the hose. Then remove the caliper bracket with the pads and remove the brake rotor. Disconnect the ABS sensor lead behind the inner fender, unclip it from its mounting points, and pull it out of the way. Leaving the sensor in the housing and removing the sensor lead will prevent damaging the sensor if it is stuck in the housing. On these applications, you can save time by removing the axle shaft and wheel hub together, so it's not necessary to remove the axle nut. Remove the 3 bolts securing the wheel hub to the housing, and remove the wheel hub and axle shaft. Remove the upper and lower ball joint cotter pins. Loosen the upper ball joint nut. Remove the lower ball joint nut. Separate the ball joints from the housing. Then remove the upper ball joint nut and remove it from the axle housing. Now, select the proper cups and adapters for the upper ball joint. Assemble the ball joint press and remove the upper ball joint. Next, assemble the press tool for the lower ball joint and press it out. Use emery cloth and cleaning discs to remove rust and corrosion from the bores and surfaces of the axle housing. The lower ball joints feature low-profile grease fittings and come with a special grease gun adapter. Prepare to install the lower ball joint by marking the axle housing in the intended location of the grease fitting, as shown here. The lower ball joint comes with a special installation adapter, designed to work with a wider variety of ball joint press tools. Place the adapter on the ball joint. Position the joint so the grease fitting is aligned with the mark on the axle housing. Install the ball joint press and rotate the pressing screw to install the joint in the housing. Work slowly at first to make sure the ball joint is not crooked or misaligned as it is pressed into the housing. Continue to press it in until it is fully seated. Now install the upper ball joint. Note that it features both a sliding and swing movement between the stud and housing to compensate for variation in the axle assembly. Prepare the press tool with the proper adapters and install the upper ball joint. Install the grease fitting in the top of the joint. Before installing the axle housing, inspect it closely for any signs of damage or wear. Clean and inspect the ball joint tapered bores for out of roundness. Clean the tie rod, ball joint, wheel hub, and brake caliper mounting ears, and apply a thin layer of grease on the ball joint mounting ears to allow the new ball joint boots to slide against the surface. Rotate the ball joint studs so the cotter pin hole will be accessible after housing installation. Then slide the axle housing onto the ball joint studs and install the ball joint castle nuts by hand. Don't forget the bracket for the ABS sensor harness, located under the upper ball joint nut. Due to the sliding feature of the upper ball joint stud, the torque sequence is critical. First, tighten the lower ball joint castle nut by hand until it is fully seated. Next, torque the upper ball joint castle nut to 70 foot-pounds. Then torque the lower ball joint castle nut to 70 foot-pounds. If necessary, additionally tighten the castle nuts until the next opening aligns with the cotter pin hole and install both easy snap cotter pins. Note that an offset cotter pin is included that may be used if the cotter pin hole is below the slots in the castle nut. Make sure the axle housing sweeps freely through the full range of motion. Grease the upper and lower ball joints, then apply anti-seize to the wheel hub bore, and complete reassembly of the vehicle in reverse of removal. During reassembly, clean the inside of the rotor and wheel hub mounting surface. An extra axle nut and lug nut can be used to hold the rotor in place to aid in reassembling the brakes. Always follow the factory service manual for correct procedures and torque values.